Hello and welcome to this Adobe Illustrator tutorial where I created this pattern here, which was a little bit challenging for me because I expected it would be easier to create all these triangles, but in fact it wasn't that easy to color all these single triangles and get a nice pattern, so it's not randomly placed color. So we have here a light tone and then it's going to dark and all these little gradients. So to create this feel of depth, if you look at it. So I want to present you this step by step so that you can follow me, and if you want to create a similar pattern in a different color, create any color if you wanna, and in the end you can mix the colors together. So I tried this here to create first several colors, and then I mixed them together and worked with alpha mask so that the colors are mixing together nicely. In the end I used this pattern for my new logo design. So I created the Mindflip Studio company, and I wanted this gradient background here, and you can use it as background or you use it for the logo itself. And this was very nice. So I started with Adobe Illustrator. Now I created just a new file and I haven't any colors yet. So the first step is go to the browser, search for nice colors which you want to implement to your image, and yeah, work with them. So I did this and I searched this image here and placed it here, which is already here on this layer. And I need to pick these colors and save them to my color palette. So first thing is I'm creating a rectangle. I'm using this tool here, which is the shortcut M, and with the shift button I'm making this square, and this square need to get this color now. So I'm pressing the I button for the pipette tool and just select this color. Perfect. So I'm redoing this with the Alt Shift button. I'm duplicating the square and moving it along this axis. I can move it as well to this axis, but we want to have it this axis. And I'm repeating this process 3 times and press Ctrl D for duplicating the last process. Well, again, I for the color picker or the pipette, and I'm doing this with all these squares to get my color. Nice. And I will use this color now in my panel here. So as well, new color, yes. New color, yes. New color, yes. And new color, yes. Well, when I'm looking again at my reference image or my old file, then I thought about how can I do all these squares and making them connected, and yeah, would it be nice to just place them and duplicate them all again. So I thought about creating a polygon tool and use just 3 sides, and I'm repeating this all the time. And I'm doing this again and rotate them 180 degrees, and I'm doing this now, so like this, and now repeating this again. So the thing is, you can probably do this, but first it's not the pattern what I'm seeking there for, and the second thing is you need to colorize all these little squares with colors you haven't found yet. So there have to be a transition, there have to be a gradient, and this isn't that easy, so it is a wrong method. The best solution I found so far was to create first an image, an JPEG file, and then I'm transforming this image file to squares. And these squares need to get rectangles, and these rectangles need to be modified so that there's this wobbly pattern. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. But let's do it together. So I'm creating now an rectangle within color, yeah, any color you like. And this rectangle is a vector graphic. So far it's just filled with this color and I can use it anyway. And now I want to get the JPEG file, so the color feel and all these nice gradients which we want to create later, so for the transition. I think the best tool is this here. It's very nice to place colors on a specific spot. So when I'm pressing now here, I'm creating a new reference point, and this reference point can get any color which I want to. And now you see this is creating this gradient here. And it's very nice. And I can grab this gradient point and pull it somewhere else. And I have as well those tangents which can be modified, so which direction should be this. And I can place there another rectangle point, a reference point, and this point can get probably another color. So now we have this red tone, an orange reference point, and then yellow reference point. And you see that I can do this very easily. For example, this can be modified as well, and oops, Control Z for return. And I want to colorize this reference point as well to orange, for example, and maybe this as well. So we are creating this gradient here now. And what should we do with this one? Probably this should be getting darker. I prefer to getting this dark, and this probably as well like this. So this should get as well darker. And now we have already created some kind of color gradients, which are very particular because we have many colors around there. So we can, with the direct tool, we can grab this point again and moving it around and placing it where it should be nice to. And we can always go back to this tool and add further geometry. Probably I want to have here another point which should be now as well orange, and now this should be red, so we getting better colors. Maybe adjust this a little bit more so that we have this highlight here, and probably I want to create here another one. So we have two heights and we have this nice background which is getting darker there, and this should be as well a little bit darker here. So perfect. Okay, this is so far just an vector image, and we need to transform this now to JPEG. So I'm grabbing this object and go here to object and transform it to a pixel image. And then he's asking me, should it be in RPG color mode and should it be the resolution 300 pixel per inch? And yes, I want this. So I'm getting now this JPEG. And this JPEG is an image. This is necessary because now we are able to use all these single colors here. So I want to create now squares which should adopt the single colors on this particular position. So we have here this orange, and I want a square with this orange tone. And the same is here, 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 and here. So select your image, and now we are transforming them to squares because it's not possible to transform them to triangles. So object, and now you should select create object mosaic between reduce opacity and create and gradient jitter. Yeah, I think you should find it if when your program is in English as well. So and then you get asked which kind of pattern should we create for it, or which kind of mosaic. So I have this current size and are getting this size, so this should be similar in my opinion. And there shouldn't be a gap between my stones, so this is 0, and the count of stones should be in this side 30 and the height 15, because yeah, this depends how many stones you want to get. So I will show you. When you just say, for example, 10 and 5, sorry, then you're getting this. So you see the squares have already the particular color which is on this spot. But these squares are a little bit too big, so I'm going back and I want to have it with 30 in the length and 15 in height. And this is fine. So it has the ratio 2:1. So this really depends on your resolution, which kind of canvas you want to use. Alright, so we're getting all these colors with squares, and this is very nice because our single vectors having already the color which should be later as well. So the next step is a little bit annoying. It is combined with some work, so it is not as very quick button you have to press. And I will explain this step now in the beginning, and then I will turn it to a time lapse so that this is not too annoying to watch this. So we want to create triangles out of these squares, and I'm using the direct tool, so if I'm clicking here, I can modify this single particular square. So what we do is we're working with the path view. So the path view is without any color, without any effect, just the vector itself. So when I press Ctrl Epsilon, I'm switching to this view. You see this, it's here now, it's the path view. And if I press Ctrl Epsilon again, then I'm switching back to my color view. But here I can do a selection and select all those 4 anchor points, which I can't here, because if I now do the selection, it will grab the square, and this is bad. So I redo this, go back to my path view, and I'm selecting those vertices. And the second tool what we need to use is this tool here. I will write the proper translation for this on the footer so that you know which kind of tool this is. But we're able to transform our selected vertices and pull them to a specific location. Before we do anything, we need to check which kind of direction you want to transform. So it's not good to orientate to our workspace, we need to orientate to our selection. This is very important to check this. So if this is checked, then we are able to select our anchor points here, and we need to create this triangle by clicking this icon, which is merging the anchor points to the middle. You see, it is getting now here. It is actually not merged, they are just overlapping on this position, but this is okay for our aim. So what we need to do is always selecting these anchor points and just check this should be selected, this not. This should be selected, this not. This should be selected, this not. And again and again. And when you selected one row, then you can press this again and it's merged. So the first row is done, and I need to redo this again with the next row and care about all the rectangles which wasn't selected before. So I have merged this before, and now we need to do the same on the second row and selecting all this, and I will just show you if I merge them now, then we start to creating triangles. And yeah, I will do this now for the whole image, so it is good that our pattern is not too big, so 30 and 15 is enough. So I'm happy to make now a little time lapse so that you don't waste too many time. Okay, nice. We get our triangles now. When we switch back to our color view with Control Epsilon, then this looks already pretty good. But this is as well not this pattern what we wanted for, so this is this very confused triangulate colors pattern, which this gradients, or more or less like this. So it's just a very flat color right now, and we will add the gradient later, but first I want to create this very specific pattern where I pushed all these vertices around so that it is getting this very weird feel of chaos. So what we have to do now is just grab the anchor points and move them to a random position, so this is getting nice. So we created currently nice structured triangles, but now we need to bring chaos to them. What I like as well is this a little bit squashed, so I want to stretch them so they are getting maybe this kind of triangles, you know. Well, now let's start to pull these vertices and place them on a random position, and I will do this as well in the path view. So I just grab these vertices and pull them to a specific direction, and I probably are able to just select a couple of those anchor points. Sorry that I say that is vertices, because yeah, Blender, you know. Okay, and I'm just selecting all these anchor points. It can be as well a couple of them or more than just one, and grab them and pull them to a specific position. Sorry. And yeah, start to creating some noise. You are able as well to just move all of them, or just move a couple of them, or just move 2 of them. Yeah, you know what I mean. And aim is to create this very specific chaos pattern. So feel free to create whatever is in your mind. Important is that you don't select any of those edges, so just be sure to start in an empty space and then do your selection, because if you're doing if you're clicking here right now, then you're moving the whole edge, and you don't want to move just one particular edge. You want to move all vertices which are here, because if you do so, then you will get those mistakes, and I already see there is a mistake. I need to correct this, and you see that this is not correct. I guess it have to be here, and this have to be here. This have to be here, and now it should be closed again. So care about these edges. Very good. We brought some chaos to our image, and now we're getting this nice triangular pattern which was intended to get. So you really have to play around with these anchor points and move them and pull them and stretch them and whatever. So it's maybe not very funny to create, but in the end you're getting a nice pattern, in my opinion. Well, now we got the colors, but we want to create now gradient, so that we're getting this feel of height and depth to our image as well. So that the dark tones should be the bottom part of this pattern and the light parts should be the height parts. So we want to create gradients to get a feel of depth. And this is basically not too difficult. It is as well a little bit playing around with the pattern, but it's not too special in my opinion. So we have now all these triangles, and I just Ctrl+C to copy them and pull them on a new layer, and Ctrl+Shift+V, and this shortcut to place the pattern again on the exact same position, so we can disable the layer, enable it again. So important is that we now creating a gradient to all of the squares. So we can place a gradient right now there, and this gradient should be multiplied to our color, or it can be overlaid. So it depends on which mode you feel more comfortable. So I like to work with multiply, so I just were using a white tone and a slight gray tone, not a black tone, or you can play around with opacity as well, and then multiply this layer to the layer beneath, so that we get a gradient. So the bad thing is that I deleted my gradient before. This was not a good idea, but it's not very it's not a problem. So we have here the gradient tool. Let's cheat as a shortcut, and I will select this and just press this one here. So we have now one single triangle with this gradient, and I will adjust this gradient now here. This is the gradient adjustment panel, and we can adjust now color here very easily. So we have here the white tone, and I don't want a black tone, so we creating something different, maybe something like this. And yeah, this is our gradient basically, and this gradient need to be now a new color, and I will just create this color. And when I select now our group, our triangle group, and select this color, then we apply the gradient to all of this. And for sure this is not correct now, because we just created this bulby feeling. So we have now the gradient always from this direction to this direction, from left to right, and this to all triangles. And this is not the feel what we want to create. Okay, so if I select now our group again and go to transparency, and the transparency we have the option which kind of filling method this should be, and currently we have normal, and I select multiply. And if I select multiply, now I get this gradient multiplied to the layer beneath, which is our color layer. And this is basically everything. The only thing what we need to do now is to adjust every single gradient now, so that we get a nice feel. Maybe we need to adjust the opacity as well, but we will see. So we really need to do to select our gradient and adjust it, probably just a little bit, and adjust it. And we have to now playing around with my shape and with my gradients and creating a nice pattern. And in the end, this should be a very cool pattern. So I'm starting now from here and working through the colors down there, and want to create something which is similar to this one here. Alright, so the shortcut is A to select this particular pattern piece, and press G for the gradient, and always pull this gradient again, and now again A, G, A, G, A, so this will cost some time now, so have fun watching, and in the end I will give you some last tips before what I will do before this is really finished. So see you later. Alright, so far so good. So we created now our gradient, and if you select it, you can still change the opacity so that you have a stronger gradient or a very soft gradient, so probably just this one. So it's depending what you wanna create. Another option is to just take again our grid or our pattern and duplicate it with Ctrl C, then create a new layer and place this again, but this time I change it from multiply to overlay, and this creates as well a very interesting effect. So if you enable or disable it, you see the difference, and probably this is a little bit too strong, so I will take this and pull it down, so it's just a very slight effect. So if you now enable and disable it, you see the difference. So we're getting some nice highlights there. You know, overlay is taking the middle point of gray, which is the default color, and the white color will be creating a highlight, and the darker color will create a shadow. Yeah, this is one option what you can do, so it depends what how you like it or how you prefer it. For example, this is as well possible. It's well a very interesting effect, just the overlay option. So I will name it overlay and multiply. I will lock them now, and I will show you how you can very easily change color. So now selecting our color layer, and there in this part of the panel you have a wheel, and this is some kind of color wheel, and there you have listed all colors you're using in this object, and you can very easily change all colors at the same time. To go to edit, and there you see all the colors you're using. And if you lock now the selection, then you can grab and pull the colors and create something different. So now we have something like this. Probably we are going this way. So this is just a hint what you can use, but I basically like the colors what we have so far. So this is just an option. Another option will be to create a new layer and just create a new rectangle, and I will probably colorize this one, and I change the transparency here as well to overlay and change the opacity, for example. This will change as well, so I will add a warm tone to the whole thing, or probably we going to a completely different direction and I'm creating now a blue tone, and then this is creating this effect. So you can play around with color very easily with layers and overlay and multiply and all these effects. Well, it is possible to export this to as a JPEG, or just grab everything and copy them to Photoshop and adjust it there as well. But basically we are done now. I'm creating now a clipping mask, so everything is nicely placed in the middle in this tone, and we're able now to go to data, export, and export for screens, and there I can just select JPEG or PDF or PNG, SVG, and the pixel per inch. For example, I'm just doing this with 300 pixel per inch and PNG, and then I will save this. And it will automatically save the folder, and now I have here my new file. If you have any further question, let me know in the comment section below, and what you think about this pattern and how I did this. Probably there will be a different way or a more easier way. This was just my solution. I hope I was able to help you. If you like this video, it would be awesome to give it a like and or subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Cheers!